my name is Lexi and welcome back to my channel. Today, we're gonna be doing one of my very favorite videos that I do every single year, and that is the mid-year book freakout tag. If you've never heard of this before, this is basically something that a lot of book content creators do because it's like kind of a recap of everything that I've read this year leading up to this moment. Before we go ahead and jump into the tag though, I would like to thank today's sponsor, which is Hungryroot. I'm really passionate about my job, and this year I've been trying so hard to put more of an effort into making more content for YouTube and also making more content for Patreon. And on top of that, I've also been trying really hard to prioritize my health, both my mental health and also my physical health. And between filming, editing, planning content, and also going to the gym, I just feel like I don't have a lot of time to plan and prep for my meals every week. And that's why I was so excited when I heard about Hungryroot. Hungryroot is the easiest way to eat healthy. They send you fresh, high quality groceries, simple recipes, and essential supplements. And it's an incredibly customizable experience. You can choose recipes, snacks, drinks, and even put down how much time you have to cook as well. To get started, you take a short quiz and Hungryroot will get to know your personal health goals, what you like to eat, and more. Then they'll build a personal cart with all of your grocery needs for the week, as well as recipes to follow. My very favorite thing that I personally ate this week was an incredible miso salmon salad. It was so refreshing and honestly perfect for the summertime. I highly recommend Hungryroot. I have loved my experience with them, and I have loved every single thing that came in my grocery box, especially the snacks and the drinks. Those were so good. And if you'd like to try Hungryroot out for yourself, you can actually use my code, which is AlexandraRoseland40. And that code is gonna get you 40% off of your very first order with Hungryroot. And if you'd like to learn more about Hungryroot, you can click on the QR code on the screen. All of the links for them and my code can be found down below in my description box. And again, I highly recommend checking them out. And now, let's get back to freaking out with the mid-year book freakout tag. Question number 1, best book you've read so far in 2024. I found it. I found it. Okay, here's the thing. So I don't actually know if this vlog is gonna come to light, but I am vlogging reading this book and like a bunch of other weird books. And the thing is, I just was not expecting to fall in love with this book to this extent. I don't think I've really talked about it on my channel too much, if maybe at all, and I've never heard of it on BookTube. I'm sure other people have like talked about it, but I have never heard about it on BookTube. And I need you to know, when I say that I'm obsessed, I have a post-it note that says what book corresponds to what prompt. So. But when I say I am obsessed with this book, that's putting it lightly. Okay, how many pages is this? This is almost 500 pages. Well, okay, that's dramatic. It's 433, but it's not a short read, okay? It's not a short read. And the thing is, I read it in less than 24 hours. Like, I started it for a different vlog. I think I read like 20 pages. And then I started it the next day for this other vlog, and I canceled all of my plans. I didn't do anything aside from reading this book. And I have not had that experience in a really long time. Because even when I love books, I rarely just say I can't do anything but read. Like, never. But this is the exception. This is the best book of the year. It will not be moved from my #1 spot. There's no way. There is no way any other book is gonna come between me and this book. Forever and ever and always, amen. Okay, When We Lost Our Heads by Heather O'Neill. So this is a literary fiction, and it is what I would consider to be like weird girl literary fiction. Toxic characters, unhinged female protagonists. Like, it's got everything, okay? It's got everything. And it's also inspired by Marie Antoinette. Okay, so the book is following two besties, okay? But they're not like regular besties. They are toxic best friends who sometimes are frenemies, but also there's a lot of angst and pining and like sapphic undertones with them. Do you feel me? Do you get what I'm saying? So we're following our main girl. Her name is Marie Antoine, I think. She's the one who's kind of based off of Marie Antoinette. She's a very whimsical, fun, playful child. Her father is super, super rich. Every single person wants to be her best friend in this very wealthy neighborhood in the late 1800s, but all of them kind of bore her, and no one can really keep up with her level of thinking until Sadie Arnett moves into the neighborhood. Sadie is extremely clever, extremely beautiful, and she intimidates all of the other girls. While Marie kind of like makes everyone want to be her friend, Sadie intimidates everyone. Think like Wednesday and Enid vibes, you know what I'm saying? Except they're like also kind of pining for each other, and also they're competing with each other all the time. So they meet when they're 12, and the book actually opens up, like it's the very first chapter of them dueling to the death at 12 years old. At 12, what an opener. And the entire book is just following their friendship, also their competitions, like how they view each other, what happens throughout their lives. It's just amazing because like not only are we following this friendship, we're also following all of these other plot lines, and like the twist at the end in how every single thing comes together is genius. I did not see it coming at all. There are so many plot twists, which like didn't need to happen because the whole book was so good. There didn't need to be any plot twists. And then Heather O'Neill was like, you know what? I can do more. Question number 2, best sequel you've read so far in 2024. So for this one, I'm kind of cheating. I'm not really cheating, but this is technically a prequel. However, it is the second book in this series, so I think it counts. And that's gonna be Bookshops and Bone Dust by Travis Baldree. If you loved the vibes of Legends and Lattes, you will love this book. This is a book for my cozy fantasy girlies out there, okay? So if you love a cozy moment versus like high stake adventures, this entire series is just, it's so good. The book is following Viv, who is an orc, and she is on her journey to, I guess, starting to be adventurous and like have all these adventures. And she gets hurt pretty quickly on in a battle, and she's like left by the seaside village where she has to kind of heal up her leg, and she doesn't want to be there. She's not cozy Legends and Lattes Viv. She wants to be a badass, okay? So she does not want to be in this sleepy little town, but it turns out it's like one of the best things for her. She makes all of these friends, and she strikes up a great friendship with the owner of a bookshop where she kind of helps the owner fix up the bookshop. It's a fantastic book if you love friendships, if you love cozy vibes, and also if you love a great plot, because I feel like this one actually had some actiony things put in here which were really interesting. Question number 3, new release that you haven't read yet but that you want to. I think that one's actually going to be a middle grade for me, and that is The Myth of Monsters, Medusa. This is by Katherine Marsh. The book has everything that I could ever want in a middle grade. So I love magical schools. I love Greek mythology. I love reading about protagonists who didn't know that they had magical powers. I also love monsters. Oh, also, I love Italy. This book has it all. This book is about a girl who discovers that she has powers and is sent away to a magical boarding school in Venice, Italy. And like the boarding school was literally founded by Greek Olympian gods. I need to read this. Question number 4, most anticipated release for the second half of the year. I have quite a few, to be honest. One is Riley Sager's newest book. Riley Sager comes out with a new thriller every single year. Do I know anything about this book? No, but I pick up every single thing Riley Sager ever writes every single summer. So that one is definitely on my most anticipated book list. The next one is one by Meg Schaffer. She is the author of The Wishing Game, and actually she's coming out, I want to say in August, with a new book that was loosely inspired by the Chronicles of Narnia. And the premise of this sounds really great. I think there's 2 boys who ended up going to this magical other world, and when they come back, I don't think one of them remembers anything that happened, and then the other one is trying to help find missing children who go missing in the area, and then they inevitably like go over to the other world. I'm also really excited for The Spell Shop. This is a cozy fantasy. I'll be reading this with my Patreons this summer, I think in September, and I want to say it comes out in August. And then also Sangun Mandana, who wrote The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. She is also coming out with a new book, and it's something about like magical innkeeping. It's another cozy like romance, except this one is following a witch who is going to be running, I think, like a magical hotel. Question number 5, your biggest disappointment of the year. No one's going to be surprised, but okay, it's Thirst. So we don't need to talk about this again, right? Question number 6, your biggest surprise of the year. And for me, that is going to be the discovery of a new genre. The genre of weird girl literary fiction. I have mentioned this in so many of my videos at this point, but I have discovered this genre sort of on TikTok. I didn't really put it together. It's not an actual genre. It's more of like a mood, a vibe, and aesthetic, okay? Some of my very favorite books have these vibes, and I just never put it into words before seeing this on TikTok. But basically, the vibes are weird girlhood, magical girl, weird unhinged literary fiction. Like all of this is kind of in the same vein, right? So we're talking like unhinged female protagonists, messy women, bits of surrealism sprinkled in, possibly. We're talking pining. It's a vibe, okay? And these are some of the books that I've discovered that I've loved from exploring this genre. The first, obviously, is When We Lost Our Heads. I found this from a TikTok recommendation on this subject, and I I love this. But I also gave 5 stars to Dogs of Summer, which is very weird girlhood 101. Definitely gave 5 stars to Rouge by Mona Awad. Gave another 5 stars to I'm a Fan by Sheena Patel. And then also, I think in the vlog that I'm reading this in, I say that this is 4 stars, but upon reflection, it might be a 5-star too. I don't know. It's very good. So if you are interested in some weird girl fiction, yeah, I highly recommend it because it's a good time. Question number 7 is favorite new author. And I think that is actually going to be Maud Ventura. I read My Husband this year and completely fell in love with this book. This is another 5 stars. I would also kind of consider this to be like weird girl, unhinged narrator. I loved this. I thought this was so good. It's just about a woman who's in her 40s and she's obsessed with her husband. And I know it sounds boring, but I swear this is one of the most fascinating, interesting, and well-written books I've ever read. And I will be absolutely reaching for more books from Maud Ventura after this. Number 8 is newest fictional crush. And I have to be honest with you, I don't have one. I wish I did, but I can't think of a single character that I've read about where I was like, yes, I would get with you. Maybe that's because most of the characters I'm reading about this year are really messy. So I'd rather be like friends with them because I feel like if we got together, they would all break my heart and I can't handle that. Number 9 is newest favorite character. And I do have an answer for this. And it's gonna be Briseis from This Poisoned Heart, and this is by Kaitlyn Bayron. This is a YA fantasy and it's fantastic. We're following Briseis. Briseis finds out that she has been left this inheritance of this grand estate with all of these gorgeous gardens in upstate New York. She goes with her 2 moms, and when they check it out, she discovers that there are poison gardens. And one thing about her is she actually has this incredible ability to grow any plant or flower that she wants just by like willing it. Bri, like, she is so cool. I would love to be besties with a person who could just grow flowers. Like, that's so cool. I loved her personality. I thought she was really, really fun. And I just really enjoyed the book. So yeah. Question number 10, a book that made you cry. I knew exactly what book I was gonna choose for this. And the book that I chose is Less, and this is by Andrew Sean Greer. This book is so wonderful. We're following Arthur Less, who kind of had like a situationship with a younger guy. And the younger guy is like, I'm actually gonna be getting married. And then his situationship invites him to the wedding. And Arthur Less is like, no. No. And so he decides, as like a polite way to decline, he's just gonna get super busy in his work. He's an author and he decides to take on all of these different conferences, author interviews, and things that he's never said yes to before. And he's gonna travel the world. And through traveling the world, hopefully he can get over his broken heart. The ending is quite unexpected. The journey was beautiful. It had a lot of great conversations on ageism, on growing as a person, on acknowledging our own flaws and faults, on the complexities of love and what makes a great relationship versus a failed relationship. It had a lot of really, really great things thematically that I thought were really, really strong. And it was funny. Like, I was laughing out loud throughout this. And so at the very end, I just was not expecting to sob my eyes out, but I did sob my eyes out and I thought it was fantastic and I recommend it. I really do. Question number 11, a book that made you happy. And that one has to go to Bad Summer People by Emma Rosenblum. This book made me so happy. Like, if you're looking for a book that's gonna give you just a big burst of serotonin, this is it. The book is just following a bunch of people. Like, there's a plethora of characters involved, and they all go to this little island in the summertime called Fire Island. It's actually the perfect book to read right now because it does take place in the summer, so it would be like a great beach read. But the reason I recommend this and the reason it made me so happy is because it's so funny. It reads like an HBO dramedy. Every single person in this book is messy and dramatic, but in a fun way. We're following just a group of random rich people who go to this island in the summertime, and they're all up to no good. They're all being very, very naughty. And it's just fun. Like, it's fun to see about the antics. There's a murder that takes place, and so a little bit of it is kind of a thriller because you're trying to figure everything out, but most of it is just like a fun comedy. I also highly recommend pairing this with the audiobook because the narrator was fantastic in how she did all of the voices. And that was half the fun, honestly. It was really, really funny listening to how she voiced all of these characters. I recommend this. I thought it was great. I really did. 5 stars. Question number 12, most beautiful book you've bought so far this year or received. And I have 2 for this one, and they're completely different styles. The first one is Fruit of the Dead by Rachel Lyon. This is a literary fiction, and it's a modern day retelling of Persephone and Demeter. But I love this book because I feel like it looks like a literal work of art. We have kind of an artwork painting in the middle here, and then it's just like this very crisp, clean white background with a gorgeous font. Like, I think this is classic. This looks so beautiful and aesthetic to me, and I just love books that look like this. The other one is oh my gosh, you guys, I have to tell you something. So the other one's Lee Bardugo, and we're gonna see the book in a second, but this is hilarious. I don't know why, but I thought this book was about vampires, and I swear in my last book haul or something, I was talking about, all I need to know is that it's about vampires. It's not about vampires, apparently. So like, don't listen to me. Like, did she even read? We don't know. But the other one that I think is gorgeous is this one by Lee Bardugo. It's called The Familiar. What is it about? I don't know. It's got sprayed black edges. I love the inside. I think that's so gorgeous. And then also, I think that the outside is like kind of sexy. I don't know. It like does something for me. So. And then the last question, number 13, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? Well, I'm glad you asked. I have lots of books, but the books that I'm prioritizing are the stack of books here that I am deeming my Umbrella Academy books. Have you heard of the series, The Umbrella Academy? It's on Netflix. I saw the very first season and became obsessed with it. And it has been my mission to find books that give me the same vibes as season 1 because, again, obsessed. If you don't know anything about The Umbrella Academy, it is about a family of kind of like superheroes, and they call themselves the Umbrella Academy, and they all have different abilities and powers and everything. And when they're kids, they end up saving a lot of the world. But then the family kind of falls apart a little bit, and they move on to their own separate lives. They come back when their father, who kind of like structured this academy, passes away. And while they are there, their missing brother comes back because his power was time travel. And he says, basically the world is gonna end and we have to come together to try to save it. That's like the premise of it. And it's just so good. Also the soundtrack is like bop after bop. They're so good. I'm really interested in that series for a plethora of reasons. I love the idea of a superhero family, and I also really love the idea of time. So we're looking for superhero families and time travel. So these are the books that I feel like kind of give me similar vibes. The first one that gives me Umbrella Academy vibes is The Ministry of Time, and this is by Colleen Bradley. And this is about a woman who works for the government. They're trying to figure out time travel, and they send her on a mission to basically, I think, go back in time or forward in time, and she is sent with a guy who was supposed to have died a long, long time ago, but they like rescue him right before he dies or something like that. And it's about their experience trying to time travel. The next one is really chunky. I really want to prioritize this. This is 11/22/63 by Stephen King. And this is about a man who discovers that he can time travel, or he's offered the ability to, and he discovers this group of people who are all trying to stop the assassination of JFK, and they're all time travelers. And if you know anything about the Umbrella Academy, you know that that's actually kind of spot on to a couple of things. So there's that one. Okay, sorry if the angle changed or anything. I actually had to pause the video for a second, but we're back with the last Umbrella Academy-esque book, and that's Spoonbenders by Daryl Gregory. This book is about a family of, well, they're not superheroes, but they all have like weird sci-fi abilities. I think one person's like a natural lie detector, another one has telepathy. I don't remember what the other ones have, but they all have something interesting and like sci-fi-esque. And then I think all of their powers collectively kind of go away. But now some people are after the family, and I don't remember who. I think it's like the CIA, maybe like a totally different group as well. The family has to come together, and they have to see if they can protect themselves and maybe get their powers back somehow, or they're gonna be in trouble, basically. It sounds really good. I've heard great things about this. I've also heard this is funny, so we shall see, but I have very high hopes for Spoonbenders. Well, there you have it, my loves. Those are all of the books for the mid-year book freakout tag. I had so much fun. I love this tag so much, and I would love it if you wanted to answer one of these questions or all of these questions in the comments, just because I love hearing from you guys guys like all of the things that you've been up to and that you've been reading. But if you don't want to do that, my official question of the day is this. If you were going to recommend me one book or one TV show to check out this year, what would it be? Let me know down below in the comments. And the emoji of the day is gonna be, what is the most random thing that I can think of? Leave me a banana. A big thank you again to Hungry Root for sponsoring today's video. If you're interested in checking them out, you can use my code AlexandraRosalind40. All of the links for them will be down below in the description, along with the QR code on the screen if you want to learn more. I really love their product. I loved my grocery box so much, and I highly, highly recommend checking them out. And then also a huge thank you to all of my Patreons over in Foxenwood. If you're interested in more content, you can check it out down below. Especially a big thank you to all of the Ink and Quill Club members who are all the executive producers of every video that I create. And that's it, you guys. So until next time, book lovers, keep your head in the clouds and your heart in a book. And I will chat with you very soon. Bye!
What's the angle? I'm not playing.